Hey, this is Jerry Williamson with Bishop's Flowers and Designs by Jerry, and what we're going to do today is we're going to finish up this living wreath that we've been working on for the last few weeks. So what I've done is I have potted a whole bunch of different types of plants, and we're going to now be able to take these potted plants and put them on the living wreath. Now it's going to be a little bit of work. Some of this you're not going to be able to see really up close just because of the nature of the video camera and where I'm going to have to stand to do this. But I will show you some of the tricks. There's many different ways to do this, but what I have done, because there's so much weight on this wreath, I have gone ahead and ran a wire through the clay pot, through the bottom of the pot and out the top, and I'll be connecting that way. Now sometimes you can wrap it other ways, you can use other tools, but I really prefer to make sure we do something where we're going to be able to have a good, secure, firm hold on these, because when we get finished with this, this is going to be a really heavy wreath. I don't recommend it for doors that swing open. It's probably going to go right here on my wall, as a matter of fact. But someplace where to get some good light and you can water it well, and at the same time where you're not having to do a whole lot of movement with it. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead, and with some of these things you're going to need some really good pliers to do some of the work. So we've done some work already here in getting this container ready. So what I'm going to do is get my pliers, and we're going to bring this container up under this, and then I'm going to poke the wire right through the grapevine wreath. Now, like I said, it'll kind of be hard for you to see a lot of this, but at least you'll have an idea of what we are doing. So when you get ready to do yours, you'll have an idea. And all I'm doing now is I'm taking my pliers and I'm twisting these wires together so that we make sure that this does not come off. Even when we take it down to put new plants in or to water it or whatever, we want to make sure that that is going to be held there really good. Now that's about the heaviest one that I'm going to have on this container, but you can see how already this is just starting to be gorgeous. So let's take something else now. Now what I've done here is I've taken some jute and wrapped through here, so I'll be able, well, let's see, that's not the way I want to do it, to just come around the wreath once again, all the way around it. And get a good, nice, tight hold on it. Now, even the jute over the years will begin to rot as you water this. So you have to be careful and keep a good eye, because just because that's what we've got holding it up there now doesn't mean it's going to stay there like that. So just watch and make sure if you use something like the jute as opposed to the wire. Just press this down in here, make sure we get all the air bubbles out. It will take it a while before all the roots start taking hold. And let's take another one now. I think we'll use some jute on that one as well. Bring the jute through the wire that we've already tied on. Tie it good knot so it doesn't slip off. And I may not have tied enough string on here. We'll see in just a moment, won't we? Once again, I've got to get back behind here to manipulate Okay. Now we can just kind of move that pot around however we want it to look there. And let's take this one. I love this pot here. And it just kind of fits in there very nicely. So since that one is a little heavier, I'm going to take some wire and attach to my other wire. And hopefully I can move this without knocking my pot off, because this is starting to get really heavy now. So I'm going to bring this wire through the grapevine and through the back of my wire that's on the pot. I wish I had it where I could show you this on camera, but I just don't have enough hands to be able to move the camera around everywhere. And then we're just going to pull that real tight. Whoops. And twist it up really good and tight. Now, let's see how that one looks. You just want to get in there and work with your plant a little bit. Make sure that it's hanging out just right, looking good. And as it grows, it's going to change anyway, but at least you want it looking good right now, right? Okay. We have one more blooming plant here. And it's already got a lot of nice wire on the back of it. So I'm just going to try to use that one again without having to add any more to it. And we'll bring it right up here. See how that works. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. And then we have some small containers, and I just use small floral wire with these, but you do have to be careful. Since these are annuals anyway, most likely they're not going to last more than a few months, and we'll be replacing them with something else, maybe some succulent or something like that. But you have to be careful with these wires here, because these wires, as the plant gets watered, these wires will rust. So you want to make sure that you are not putting too much weight on these wires, particularly if they're going to be the type that ends up rusting. And we have another one here. There we go. That one's hanging on pretty good. Whoa, this is getting heavy, 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 heavy. And we have one more plant. Now, where do you think this one should go? How about right here? It just looks like it's home waiting for a plant, doesn't it? And you can kind of adjust the angles of the pots and stuff as you go and tighten all of these. So kind of move them around as you want them. But the trick is make sure you get a really good tight hold as you start twisting these wires. And I'm going to show you another trick here in just a moment, because this clay pot is not doing exactly like I want it to. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take some small pieces of wild honeysuckle. I'm going to glue it in. I've got my glue really nice and thick. I'm going to get that clay pot right where I want it. And then I'm going to come through here and start wrapping this around it. And see how all of a sudden a nice good tug on it makes that pull right up and hold at the exact angle that I want it. Plus it just really looks good. You want to pull on it good and tight. And remember, like I said, you can only do this if your honeysuckle is fresh. If it's starting to dry out, then you can't do it. So then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get some glue, put on my honeysuckle really thick there, go right up through there. And then it's going to dry right in place. And if you really wanted to, you could even go back here and drop some more on there, but I think it's going to be okay. And even if it does come off, you can always go back and fix it later because I've got it connected with the wire. Some people will use just a honeysuckle to connect it. Just makes me a little nervous doing that. So let's do another one, and this is really just for looks now. It's not really to hold anything as much as it's just to look good. Now that one wasn't long enough to go back around again, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here on top of it and dab right where I took it back down into the grapevine wreath. I'm going to dab some glue down in there to hopefully that will grab onto the wreath and the stick, and we'll kind of secure that in there. Moss, and just try to make sure you don't get any of that on your plant. Okay, but see how nice that looks there? Kind of looks like the pots are growing inside the wreath now, and that's kind of the look that we want to start getting with all of this. And we just keep doing this, and we do the entire container or the entire arrangement that way. So we're going to try, we'll see how well this works, to get some around this big clay pot. I'm not really promising anything on that because it is pretty big. We'll see where all this is going to go. And I tell you what I'm going to do instead of trying to loop this, because it does seem like there's a lot of this to get through it. Let's see if I can. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and make this look like it's holding it, because it's just too difficult to try to get it up through there. So I've got it secured over here, and I'm going to pull it tight around that container, and then I am just going to wrap that off through the grapevine. There, we're going to let that loop up around there a little bit. Bring it right back around again. And take it back through one more time. What you have to watch out for are all the different little knots that get in your honeysuckle, like this knot right here, is catching and not letting me go through. Okay, we got it around. Now what we're going to do, this is why you want your glue to be really thick as opposed to really thin. You feel like you're using a lot more glue when it's really thick, but if it's thin, it's going to run. Where if it's thick, you can manipulate that glue or manipulate your honeysuckle before that glue starts running everywhere. There we go. And I think that's going to hold that one just fine. Now what I want to do is use this curly one, but I'm going to cut off all these extra vines. And we're going to work on this one here. Gosh, the vines are catching up in my mic cord. My goodness gracious. So we'll start here again. We'll go down in there and let that dry just a second. Now I told you earlier that I would show you how to get rid of all these glue strings, and I forgot to do it. And now it's too late. So let me just tell you what to do instead of showing it to you. Inevitably, you're going to have a lot of glue strings. They almost look like cobwebs. Start stringing from your glue when you use it. So what you want to do is get you a blow dryer, hold it back a little bit from it, and just start blowing it. And what the heat will actually melt that string because it's so thin. Now you don't want to get up too close to the grapevine or anything else you're using it with, or you'll actually start releasing the glue there too. So just pull it back about a foot and blow dry it like that really quick, and you'll start seeing those just disappear really quickly there. All right, so this should be strong enough now that I can come through here. Actually, I'm just going to cut this off because I can tell this is going to become a problem already. Get on this side. And this is where you got to be a little patient because you really got to be able to work with this here if you want it to work right. Especially the more plants you get on here, the more you're going to have these kind of problems where it starts running into issues. So just don't give up. Just rethink. That's all. Just come up with a different plan. I like to say plan B is always better than plan Z. And here's the beautiful part. No one other than you will ever know that it's different than you started out planning on it being. Alright, finally got that pulled through there. Again. Get one more. And I'm going to cut this. Get some glue on that. And drive that right up through the grapevine wreath so that it will start to secure itself. If your glue starts running, a lot of times you can just take some moss and stick on there, and that will make it all adhere to each other. Kind of creates a web for itself. It's a good tight hold on that one. And I think I was going to put a bow on this, but you know, I just don't think I have room for it or the need for it. So I think that we're going to call this container or this wreath complete. Now let's just pick it up just for fun and see how heavy it is. That's not too bad. So my name is Jerry Williamson with Bishop's Flowers and Designs by Jerry. If you want to learn more details about how to make living wreaths, spring wreaths, summer wreaths, fall wreaths, Christmas wreaths, any kind of wreath in the world, plus some other decorations for your home, go ahead, sign up on our email list. Contact me, leave comments below, and we'll make sure that we get in touch with you so that you get these videos every week. Plus, you can also get on our list for some upcoming online and face-to-face floral design classes. I'll see you next week. Thank you.